Welcome everybody to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host Louis Sung, and today we're going to be talking about power rankings. Yep, it's time for power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry about this just ahead of time, but I saw something going around Twitter that I just felt like I had to address, and I kind of feel like this is going further into the whole nobody likes the Miami Dolphins narrative that everybody keeps talking about. Yes, I really do believe it's real. I really do. And the reason why is because it seems like every opportunity they get, unless you are actually an honest analyst, I appreciate Mel Kiper for actually trying to be objective about his opinions with the Miami Dolphins NFL draft. I appreciate when people try to look at this thing from an actual perspective of I want to be an analyst and I'm not just trying to get clicks. But there are those who just decide that they really want to get clicks. And you know what? I am unfortunately going to feel the need to give them right now because sometimes I just see things and it just makes me so upset. So I'm going to go and get into what I saw that exactly is going to make me so upset. But before I get into that, I just want to go ahead and start things off on a positive note by mentioning that this show is brought to you by our friends over at You Brake Wheel Fix. You Brake Wheel Fix is a complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to the sidewalk curb? You Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, or curb rash. Or maybe your wheels are faded or peeling, you don't need to replace them, as You Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, You Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're looking to just give your ride a new look, You Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options, such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at You Brake Wheel Fix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to You Brake Wheel Fix and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is the revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, one of each, it's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. They give you free squares, special Taco Tuesday promos, Flex Friday specials to where you get your money back if you lose or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up. So use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5, spell that out, FIVE. Go to prizepicks.com and get started winning today. All right. So, allow me to explain what has me so upset right now. So, there's this Twitter account called the 33rd Team, and according to its official description on Twitter, it is NFL content from current and former players, coaches, and executives, and they have nearly 75,000 followers on Twitter. So, pretty impressive, right? You would think that that must be reputable in some way, because, after all, they have almost 70,000 followers. They say they have content from actual current and former players, coaches, executives. That could mean anybody, really, but we don't really know. I'm sure that they've advertised a few of their people, but I don't really want to check their entire timeline to see exactly who it is that they have on their staff. Nevertheless, there is this one thing that I saw on May 1st, and quite frankly, it is infuriated to even give it any kind of attention, but at the same time, I also can't look away from it because of just how ridiculous it actually is. So, it was made by a user, so I guess this is part of their staff. It is by the name of Paul Domowich. And mind you, I'm not calling for anybody to go and harass this person or tell them that they're dumb or threaten them. I don't know. Twitter is a really weird, nasty place. So I'm calling officially right now. Whatever I'm about to say, do not go and attack these people or try to say how horrible they are as human beings. I'm calling out the content itself, not the user. Now, with that said, this Paul Domowich person has over 30,000 followers on Twitter. So again, one would think that he has some level of reputation. I mean, you don't get that many followers by just being an absolute nobody. But I'm just looking at what the power rankings are that he actually put together here. And part of me wonders how he managed to get so many followers unless he was literally just clickbaiting every single time he posted something. So these are the post-draft power rankings via Paul Domowich. Okay? And I'm just going to go up from bottom to top as far as what the power rankings are. And you guys tell me where you think there's something wrong here. So he has at 32, the Indianapolis Colts, 31, Arizona Cardinals, Las Vegas Raiders, at 30, Los Angeles Rams at 29, Houston Texans at 28, Tennessee Titans at 27, Chicago Bears at 26. Now, the Bears right there, I already think that that's wrong because I feel like the Bears should be higher. Justin Fields is a very talented player. He showed that he is, and I think people are very highly underestimating him. So that's besides the point. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going down big time, and now they're at 25. Obviously, the lack of Tom Brady makes them a lot less reputable. Washington Commanders at 24, Atlanta Falcons at 23. The New England Patriots are at 22, so the downfall of the Patriots continues. That's fun. I kind of like that. Denver Broncos at 21, Cleveland Browns at 20, so the Deshaun Watson thing, nobody's convinced that he's actually all that special anymore. New Orleans Saints at 18, Green Bay Packers at 18, Aaron Rodgers not being there shoots them down a peg. Here it is, folks. Miami Dolphins at 17. The Dolphins are ranked 17. With the kind of roster that they've managed to put together, I'm kind of baffled by that. And now here are the teams that are ahead of the Dolphins. The Carolina Panthers are at 16, so apparently drafting Bryce Young makes them a superstar team all of a sudden. The Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks at 14, Steelers at 13, 12 is the Los Angeles Chargers, 11 is the Baltimore Ravens. They did add a lot of really good help at wide receiver, and Lamar Jackson is back, so I'll kind of give them that one. The New York Jets are at 10. Really, Aaron Rodgers at the end of his career, 90% retired before he decided at the last minute he wanted to come back. That shoots them all the way up into the top 10. You might as well go ahead and give them the AFC East crown. Oh, wait, but we'll get into that in just a minute. The New York Giants are at 9. What? Like, as much as I hate the Jets, like, it's bad enough that the Jets are ranked in the top 10, but even I, as a Jet hater, and not that I am a Jet fan hater, I'm fine with all human beings, but as a New York Jets team, you're telling me that the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, as much as I just made fun of him, you're telling me Daniel Jones somehow makes the Giants better? Or are we banking on the whole, we really love Brian Daboll thing, and that's the reason why they're ranked so high? What did the New York Giants do exactly to be given that much credit? I have no idea. Dallas Cowboys are at 8. Detroit Lions at 7. What? Okay. I guess we're basing this off the offense, right? They were a really good offense last season, and Jared Goff, I am assuming that teams are not going to be prepared for him. I would assume they're going to be prepared for him, really. I'm not going to go here and just say that, oh, Jared Goff is just a great quarterback again all of a sudden. I really don't think he is, but he had a really great season. I'll give him credit for that. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 6th. 6th? The Jaguars? Okay. Now we're just going crazy. I know everybody loves Trevor Lawrence and his amazing hair, but it's very hard for me to picture the Jacksonville Jaguars as nearly a top 5 team. Now, these teams actually make sense. San Francisco 49ers 5, Buffalo Bills 4, Cincinnati Bengals 3, Kansas City Chiefs 2, and somehow the Eagles are number 1, even though the Chiefs actually were the Super Bowl champions last season, but whatever. That's fine. So this whole thing, obviously, is a big way of just saying, like, let's see how many people we can get upset. And just based on the comments that I was reading throughout this thing, this entire thing is a mess. Like, nobody agrees with this. Like, even people who are not Dolphins fans are in here saying, are you kidding me right now? So, here we go. This is the person who is actually a Vikings fan, right? So this is a Vikings fan. In what world are the Lions better than the Ravens, Chargers, Jets, or Dolphins? This list is horrible. That's a Vikings fan. Like, the Vikings fan is coming to the Miami Dolphins' defense. And you know what? He has a really good point. The Detroit Lions, I understand their offense was really good last season, but their defense was subpar at best. So, yes, they added a few pieces in the draft, but just because you had a good draft does not mean that all of a sudden you are a top 10 football team. I understand that power rankings are a big part of off-season content because it's really easy and there's not a whole lot to discuss, there's not a lot to talk about, but you know what? I feel like that just me doing this show, I feel like we should try to do better power rankings, and maybe I'll get together with my crew on the 5 Reasons Sports Network and we'll try to make our own list of power rankings eventually. I think that would actually be a lot more fun. So now, I'm not going to go ahead and call it here because I've honestly said my piece already on these power rankings. I think they're garbage. I think they're awful. And the Miami Dolphins are being ranked way too low at 17. Even non-Dolphins fans are coming to the defense of it. That's how you know how bad it is. So before we go ahead and call it a show, I want to talk a little bit about the whole Dalvin Cook situation. Yeah, we're still on that, believe it or not. I figured that with the Dolphins drafting Devon Achane, that this would be the end of the discussion. The Miami Dolphins have Raheem Mostert, they have Jeff Wilson, and they just drafted who was probably Mike McDaniel's favorite running back in the entire draft because Devon Achane also happens to be the fastest running back in the entire draft. And he has a lot of stuff going for him. We already discussed that a couple of shows ago. But nevertheless, it seems that the Dalvin Cook situation has not actually died out yet. In fact, it seems to be getting stronger. So now there was a report that came out that the Miami Dolphins reportedly, presumably, are considering giving a 2024 fifth-round draft pick for Dalvin Cook to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, if a fifth-round pick is all you're going to have to give up to get somebody along the lines of a Dalvin Cook, if you can make that money work, if you can afford it, I would absolutely do that trade. Because if you have somebody like a Dalvin Cook, and we've discussed this many times on this show already, but I feel like it needs reiterating because there are some people who are looking at this situation and thinking, well, maybe Dalvin Cook's not that great. It's amazing how quickly opinions can change depending on the circumstances. Now that we have Devon Achane, suddenly Dalvin Cook has gone from an elite running back to an old, slow, injured, and washed up player who doesn't need to be anywhere near this team. It's very interesting how things change. I've already said numerous times on this show that if the Miami Dolphins were able to get their hands on Dalvin Cook, that would make a whole lot of things a whole lot easier for Tua Tagovailoa at the quarterback position. Because now you can't have teams actually selling out against the pass. They're not going to be able to send 7 guys in the secondary just waiting for Tua to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle in the middle of the field and try to make an interception like the San Francisco 49ers did. Because now you have somebody like a Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook knows how to run the football. And he will absolutely run over people if he can get the chance. So he's not Derrick Henry in that sense, but he is still very good. And even as injured as he was, because we kept hearing that over and over, he's been injured, he's been hurting, he's played through an entire season with an injury, a shoulder injury of some kind, and yet he still ran for 1,000 yards, even with his limited time. So that just goes to show you, yes, he's getting a little bit on the older side. I am not an ageist when it comes to football players. In fact, Raheem Mostert is actually older than him, and the Miami Dolphins just brought him back. So I sincerely doubt that they're looking at Dalvin Cook's age and saying, yeah, we don't necessarily want that. I think he's too old. Dalvin Cook, if he were to become a Miami Dolphin, could potentially be the final piece of the puzzle for this offense. Now, I'm not ignoring the right tackle position all of a sudden, nor am I ignoring the tight end position all of a sudden, but all of those picks, as much as I wanted them and as much as I consider them to be needs, at the same time, I feel like the Dolphins could get by without it. So here's something to consider. Let's ready for this? So you have Dalvin Cook, right? And he's sitting back there in the backfield and he's waiting for the handoff or the play action, depending on what it is that Tua Tagovailoa decides to do with the ball. So let's say that Dalvin Cook manages to do a play action. Unlike Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook can actually make some catches out of the backfield. He's used for those situations. Or, alternatively, you do give him the ball and he runs for like maybe 4 yards a carry, or maybe just a smidge less, but either way, it's still enough to justify giving him the football. So all you have to do is just keep moving the chains up and down the field, and the Miami Dolphins will be able to score whenever they want, in theory anyway. Consider the fact that the Miami Dolphins had one of the best offenses in the NFL last season, and that was without a right tackle to actually lock down the position. This was with Brandon Shell coming in, Greg Little coming in, Austin Jackson coming in. This was with Kendall Lamb. This was like all these weird names that we had never actually seen before or heard of before up until this point, and they were all coming in trying to hold down the right tackle position. Greg Little did it briefly. It didn't work out so great after that. Brandon Shell did it briefly. He fell off a cliff soon after that. Austin Jackson came back. He wasn't good when he came back against the Houston Texans. So all of this happens, and yet the Miami Dolphins still managed to have one of the best offenses in football. So in reality, yes, we need a right tackle to be able to protect Tua, but is it crucial for the offense itself to function? No, it's not. It's crucial if you want to make sure the offense stays maintained, but is it crucial for it to work? No. In reality, no, it's not. Because you were able to get by with Brandon Shell, you were able to get by with Greg Little, you were able to get by with whoever the offensive lineman of the day was for that time. I think Robert Hunt even managed to get a few snaps in at right tackle last season and made somebody like a Robert Jones play right guard. So with that in mind, do the Dolphins need a right tackle? Yes. Is it required for the offense to function? No. How about the tight end position? What did Mike Gesicki actually do last season? Not a whole lot. What did Durham Smythe do last season? Honestly, not a whole lot either, but certainly more than Mike Gesicki, simply because Durham Smythe actually knows how to block, and that's what the Dolphins are looking for. They're looking for somebody to do blocking. Now, you still have the likes of Tanner Connor, and now the Miami Dolphins went ahead and drafted Elijah Mitchell to be able to be another wide receiver turned tight end kind of convert to see what they can do there. We've already gone over him. His size is just like 10 pounds lighter than Sam Laporta, who everybody wanted, including me. I was the one who picked Sam Laporta for my mock draft. So if they can turn Elijah Mitchell into a tight end, he's only less than 10 pounds lighter than the guy, so it's not like he can't put on that extra weight if needed. And now they're going to have an entire offseason program to decide who gets to be the right tackle and who gets to be the left guard. I sincerely doubt that Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson are already penciled in, or I should say penned in, because there's still time to erase the name on that starter slot. Austin Jackson is not guaranteed to be the right tackle. There are guys like Ryan Hayes, who the Dolphins just drafted. There are some other players who are coming in that they're going to be trying to compete for that spot, and I am all for that. And I'm sure that they're still going to be signing a veteran guy. I'm sure Cameron Fleming is just waiting in the wings for the money that Byron Jones is going to free up once June 1st rolls around. And there are a lot of names who are able to compete with the left guard position. We already went over one of them. Jarrett Horst out of Michigan State, who I mentioned in the last show. I think he has a lot of Richie Incognito vibes to him. So if you can become a Richie Incognito, minus the whole Bullygate thing, then I think the Miami Dolphins found a winner at left guard. And then maybe Liam Eichenberg can go back to right tackle. I don't know. Let them figure that out. All this time that I've had to reflect on what this offense could look like, I'm starting to buy into the whole get a really good running back thing. Because even though it may seem like a luxury, just knowing that there's somebody of Dalvin Cook's caliber back there, you can't just sit back and wait for the ball to come to you. Because if he takes that ball and he runs it and you have only like one guy in the box because you were waiting for Tua Tagovailoa to chuck it deep into the middle of the field, you're going to pay for it. And then once you try to overcompensate, because ultimately that's usually what happens, Tua can then light up your secondary because, again, his accuracy has not gone anywhere. He's still going to be even better than he was last season because for once in his NFL career, he's actually getting to play in the same offense that he played in last season with the same head coach who actively believes in him. Oh, my God. It's the most amazing thing ever considering his career so far. So in spite of the fact that they went ahead and drafted Devon Achane, and I am sure that he's going to get plenty of snaps, believe you me. In spite of all that, bring on Dalvin Cook, man. Bring him on. I'm ready for it. Let's make this the best season we've ever had with the Miami Dolphins. Let's go back to the olden days of when the Dolphins were dominating the NFL and we can go and win a Super Bowl. This could be the year. And I'm not saying Dalvin Cook is the only last missing piece of the puzzle. There's always room for more depth. There's always room for more upgrades somewhere. Again, right tackle and tight end, notably. But you know what? Maybe some of these players surprise us. Maybe somebody comes out and plays like a superstar and we don't even know it. Chris Greer has found acorns in the past, so maybe he found some more now. We're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you all so much for listening. This power rankings complaining of mine, and of course the whole Dalvin Cook thing. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to squeeze as much into it as I can. Tonight is Pulse of Fins Nation at 7:30 p.m., so make sure you're tuned in for that. We'll be going live and talking about these draft prospects, getting a little bit more of an in-depth look with them. Alfredo Artiaga will be joining us as always. Ron Caniff will give his reactions to everything. Again, I'm trying to get Chad Ronnebaum to come in too because he has some interesting thoughts as well. I'm ready to have some fun. I hope you are too. If you haven't already done so, go check out You Brake Wheel Fix. They are the complete automotive solution for you. If you need to get your cars customized, you can go and get some custom wheels from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, suspension modifications. You Brake Wheel Fix can do all of that for you. They're located just south of Aventura, so it's not that much of a drive if you're in South Florida. Go ahead and reach out to Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112. Again, that is 305-748-0112, or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. Go ahead and get yourself an estimate in just minutes by reaching out to them on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or again, just give them a call at 305-748-0112 and start customizing your ride today. And of course, prizepicks.com. If you're a fantasy sports fan and you haven't signed up for Prize Picks yet, you are absolutely wasting your time. They make it so easy for you to come out on top if you have any kind of fantasy knowledge. All you have to do is just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their individual projected projected stat. So if you think Steph Curry is going to chuck up 6 threes, you're going to be a winner on the over more likely. If you think that LeBron James is going to have a really good game and because he's pushing for another championship, you're going to probably get a good deal on that. They give you Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday. They give you every reason under the sun to come and join. All you have to do to sign up is use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and PrizePicks will literally match up to $100 on your sign-up deposit. They will give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with before you even have to touch the money that you deposited. So don't delay. Get in there to prizepicks.com and get started winning today. Thank you all so much for joining me. We will see you all next time for another episode of Fins Nation.